Magby is faster than Malamar and gets the KO with the overheat. Drops the Psyshock, but that's okay. We get rid of Gothitelle too. Magby, I think it's fair to say, put in some work before going down. We're almost at the end of Prismatic Draft League Season 6. There should only be the final remaining when this goes up. And of course the Alaskan Absols, the team that I have co-coached since midway through the season, went out in the quarterfinals. And when that happens, it always feels like there's something missing, right? There's something more. There are techs that I came up with but didn't get to try out, and it feels like I want to play with the team a little bit more before I retire it. So the only thing to do, since we're out of the PDL, is to take the team to the VGC Regulation H ladder and give the Absols what I hope will be a proper send-off before we close out the entire season watching the final together. But yeah, so I have 3 Alaskan Absols teams here. I have made sure to use every Pokemon on the roster at least once, and we're going to go through them, and we'll get at least a couple of games with each team. I do think that Regulation H is going to be difficult for this draft team, into the standard meta, but we'll see how it goes. The first team here is sort of the standard 6, what I consider to be sort of the standard 6 for this team. So when I took over as one of the 2 coaches of the Absols, the 2 main assets on this team that stood out to me were, first, strong attackers in Baxcalibur and Primarina that could hit hard on different sides of the physical special dichotomy, and second, possible strong Trick Room modes, because neither one of these Pokemon is especially fast. They're certainly playable in Trick Room, and the team had Dusclops to be a very bulky and effective Trick Room setter. That's why I picked up Reuniclus to pair with Dusclops, leaning into more of a hard Trick Room direction with the team. And then finally we have one of the all-time great support Pokemon, Incineroar, and Hitmonchan, which I picked up to help cover certain matchups. Probably, again, less effective in Reg H than it was into specific Draft League matchups that I could see coming up on the schedule, but we'll see how it goes. And this team was the obvious starting point for this video, because these 6 Pokemon were generally my starting point whenever I was building with this team in the PDL. If I used something other than one of these 6, it was because I had a particular reason to do it, but in my mind, this was kind of the default Alaskan Absols lineup. So really quickly, we kept it pretty simple here. Loaded Dice Baxcalibur, bulky Trick Room Dusclops. This one is Haze to help me deal with possible Dondozo matchups, but otherwise nothing you haven't seen here before. Have Hitmonchan just with a black belt set with some of the go-to attacks that I would use with it in the PDL, although I went for close combat for more damage instead of Drain Punch because I'm not really trying to be bulky with this Hitmonchan. Safety Goggles Incineroar, pretty standard. Mystic Water Primarina, the kind of set that I've been using for a while, although I have gone with the popular Terra Poison, which I haven't actually used very often here on this team. And we've got the Terra Fighting Life Orb Magic Guard Reuniclus. Again, with the Focus Blast, we're just going to hope that that works out for us. So that's the first team, and we're going to hop on the ladder with it, and we'll look at the other 2 teams after. But first, let's see how this one does. This is the core of the Season 6 Alaskan Absols right here. As we see, right off the bat, Snow plus Metagross, probably some screen stuff here. They also can set screens with Grimmsnarl. That's actually more likely, so the Ninetales might just be clicking Blizzard or something. And then they have the Farigiraf for possible Trick Room setup, maybe. So they might want to play in Trick Room. I probably have the best Trick Room Pokemon in this game in Reuniclus, although it kind of loses to Metagross 1v1. But I definitely like Incineroar into almost all of this team. I think Primarina is probably pretty strong here too. Kind of depends on the Ninetales set. Baxcalibur is pretty good, except into Metagross. Beating the Metagross actually could be an issue, apart from Incineroar being able to threaten it. And even then, if it has a weakness policy or something, there could be some kind of weakness policy game plan with this team. I'd have to be careful with Incineroar into that. Let's lead Incineroar Primarina. Primarina can threaten a lot of this team, even hitting Metagross into its weaker defensive stat. And then I think I will bring Baxcalibur, and I'm just going to bring Hitmonchan to this one. We'll leave Dusclops and Reuniclus behind for this game. So it is Grimmsnarl and Metagross. I think I want to just fake out the Metagross and try to get some damage here. And see what it is that the opponent wants to do. It might just be screens with the Grimmsnarl. And we do see a light screen. Metagross still takes some damage there. I'm still worried about a possible weakness policy, but I'm going to risk a knockoff anyway and just click Hyper Voice again. We actually see Bullet Punch into Primarina. Hardic Shot into Primarina, so this Hyper Voice isn't going to do too terribly much at -1 with the light screen up, but hopefully the knockoff will be strong into Metagross. We'll see what comes in. Dragonite, it's not really surprising. Metagross takes a lot. It's Assault Vest, okay. So then the Hyper Voice actually does finish it off. Good. Grimmsnarl's back in. I'll go for a knockoff into Dragonite here, and I'll pivot Primarina out to Hitmonchan. Well, that was the plan. The idea was basically to sack Hitmonchan because I figured Baxcalibur would be more useful in the back, but anyway, the opponent forfeits, so the Absols are starting off with a win here. That always feels good. Now we get an Exeggutor Sunroom team. I've seen these recently, and I've heard that they're somewhat real in the meta, although I haven't run into them very often on the ladder. How do I play into this? Reuniclus is slower than Ursaluna. Sorry, slower than Ursaluna, but not slower than Torkoal. Still feels worthwhile to get Trick Room up. I can throw Incineroar or Primarina or even Hitmonchan with priority at Torkoal. So let's just lead with my Trick Room mode this time. I didn't bring it last game, so let's get it going quickly here. Incineroar is very strong into most of this team. And I think I will bring Primarina last for the offensive presence, although I kind of like Hitmonchan too. If it's not Terra Ghost or Ursaluna, then Hitmonchan can threaten it with a Mach Punch under the right circumstances. Or Baxcalibur with an Ice Shard, but I forgot to start timer. Actually, I don't like Hitmonchan that much here. Let's bring Primarina. Okay, Dusclops and Reuniclus against Exeggutor and Indeedee. There could be a Zoroark, but in this matchup, I think there probably isn't. We also see that it's Choice Specs Exeggutor, so yeah, I definitely don't think that's the Zoroark. I'm just going to go for Trick Room and Protect. The Indeedee could Imprison, actually, but hey, if they do that, they got me. Can't win them all. Looks like they're thinking. So they just go right for Shadow Ball into Dusclops. Doesn't do too much with the Eviolite. Oh, but they got me with the... I see. You know what, though? I think they don't click it again, but... They don't need to click it again. They can just reverse next turn. Okay, I'm going to go Incineroar here. And... yeah, actually, I'm going to try to set Trick Room with Reuniclus. I don't think Indeedee clicks Trick Room again here, because I think they're expecting to KO Dusclops if it tries to set Trick Room. They can reverse the Trick Room next turn, but I can at least make it dangerous for them. And they do the Helping Hand, and they Shadow Ball Reuniclus. Okay, so no Trick Room for me. So far, at least. There's not really any value in bringing Dusclops in, so I guess it's Primarina. Primarina might just drop to an attack here, but... well, what I can do is knock off into Exeggutor. Might get redirected into Indeedee, but we'll just hope it doesn't. And this one turn, at least, I can protect Primarina. You know what, let's just play 3 games with each of the 3 teams. I think that's a good way to keep this video reasonable. So that's what I'll do. This is the second game with this team. I'll play 1 more, and then I'll get 3 with each of the other 2 teams. I was kind of playing it by ear, but I think this is a good answer here. The Exeggutor, of course, was locked into Shadow Ball. Oh, it was Zoroark. Of course, it was clicking Shadow Ball. It should not have taken me that long to figure out that it was Zoroark. The first Shadow Ball, I think, should have given that away. That's pretty silly of me, and that's recorded forever now. Now we see the real Exeggutor. I'll try to knock that off. And I guess I'll just go for a Hyper Voice. I don't want to Terra Poison in front of a possible Expanding Force. If we do see the Expanding Force, it doesn't KO Primarina. Knockoff does quite a bit to Exeggutor, and Hyper Voice does get the KO, so... Hey, we suddenly have the Pokemon advantage at least, and there's the Torkoal. Can I not just Flare Blitz Indeedee and at least chip the Torkoal with Hyper Voice? Might win this one after all. Even with the Zoroark. Getting in my head so effectively. Terra Grass Indeedee. Oh, that is not the Terra type to go with here. It's gone. And yeah, I don't think Torkoal wins this one, 1v3. Dusclops will probably be faster than... not necessarily. But no, they forfeit and we win. Look at that, the Alaskan Absols once again showing more resilience than even I knew they had, honestly. And that was a pretty good one. Now we see Snow with Mamoswine. Probably Sneasler coaching the Mamoswine. They also have the Sneasler Dragapult duo. They also have a Vivillon to redirect attacks, but the Mamoswine and the Sneasler, to a lesser extent, don't especially want to take a Hyper Voice. And the Terra Poison could come in handy here, so I think we lead Primarina for sure. The question is what with, and I kind of like Dusclops to go for Trick Room, because this is mostly a fast team. So let's do Dusclops Primarina. I'll bring Reuniclus to this one, I think, and I could do... Honestly, Hitmonchan isn't that bad here, but I think Baxcalibur is better. Hitmonchan has some bad matchups into this team. Baxcalibur, sure, it drops to a close combat from Sneasler, but otherwise it's at least playable into pretty much everything. Okay, and we'll see Incineroar and Vivillon. Goggles, Incineroar, Focus Sash, Vivillon. That doesn't tell me too much or surprise me much. I'll just go for Trick Room and Protect. We'll see what they go for. If the Vivillon shows Sleep Powder, then that's good to know. But also, they can't fake Dusclops out. It is the Sleep Powder, so Dusclops will stay asleep at least this turn. I'll try again to set Trick Room, and I know the Incineroar is going for Parting Shot into Primarina, but I feel fine to just click Hyper Voice anyway. Except the Primarina now takes a nap. Probably should have figured that one out. Dusclops does wake up at just the right time, so I will get my Trick Room up even without the Eviolite there. And I think I'll break the Vivillon Sash with Nightshade, and I'll try to get a Hyper Voice here. Primarina has slept for one turn, so it can wake up. Let's see if it does. It does. Okay, I've had some good sleep luck this game. That does a lot to Incineroar and knocks out Vivillon. Will-O-Wisp into Dusclops. I don't even know why they did that. Dusclops. Nightshade, of course, does fixed damage, unaffected by the burn. Dusclops doesn't really care. We'll go for a Will-O-Wisp of our own into Mamoswine here and click Hyper Voice. Mamoswine will probably Terrasilize. I have no idea what its Terra type will be. I know Mamoswine has some... Okay, cool, Ground. That's good. Because, yeah, that just drops. I was going to say, I know Mamoswine has some presence in the meta, but... I don't know what it commonly runs. I said 3 games with each team, but I actually think I'm going to keep going with this team until I lose one, because this has been feeling pretty good. The Absols core here is really backing up just how strong it is, even though a lot of these are Pokemon that you don't typically see in Reg H. Obviously some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. We really found something. The 2 coaches who originally drafted this team, and then when I came in to replace one of them, we really found something with this core. And that's pretty cool, with relatively obscure Pokemon in Reg H, like Hitmonchan and Reuniclus. That said, I don't know how we play into this. I mean, getting my own Trick Room up is, again, pretty strong here. The Torkoal does underspeed my whole team, but otherwise... feels pretty good. Baxcalibur is very strong here, except that they have 2 fighting types, but might be worth it anyway. Let's do Dusclops. Primarina. Reuniclus. Baxcalibur. But I feel like there's a case for me to bring any Pokemon on this team to this one. Okay. Pretty standard items. Well, Safety Goggles and DD is a little interesting, but I don't have anything to worry about that with anyway. Okay, I'll just go Trick Room and Protect. The DD could mess with my Trick Room again. So far it doesn't, though. And I'm just going to go for a Will-O-Wisp into Gallade and click Hyper Voice. I could try to Moonblast Gallade, but exactly, the Indeedee is going for Follow Me. That will redirect the Will-O-Wisp, unfortunately. At least I get some damage into Gallade. And it targets Dusclops, which is good. Maybe I should switch in Reuniclus. It'll take the Psycho Cut somewhat better, at least, although Gallade is such a threat, regardless. But maybe I want to preserve Primarina for the late game, so I think I will switch in Reuniclus here. And they'll redirect the Will-O-Wisp. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, that doesn't do too terribly much. Reuniclus will get a good chance to attack here. I don't really have a good attack to throw at the Indeedee except Focus Blast, so let's just do that and see how it goes. Yeah, they're still not letting me burn Gallade. But Indeedee does take a lot from that Focus Blast. They target into Dusclops. Dusclops survives. I can save Dusclops here, but I think it's better to... I mean, they're gonna KO Dusclops here, and I never get Trick Room back up for the rest of the game. But I think I can win with Excalibur and Primarina even without Trick Room if it really comes down to it. I'll try one more time to burn Gallade if they let me, and I'll go for a Psychic into Indeedee because I don't think I need Focus Blast this time. Psychic, of course, is safer. Yeah, exactly. Dusclops goes down. That is a bit awkward for Reuniclus and also for Excalibur. So bring Primarina in. You see their Annihilate. I think I'm just going to go for a Moonblast into Gallade, and honestly... Oh, I can set Trick Room again, actually, because I do have it on Reuniclus. They might stop me, but let's try it. Fire Ape. Okay, good to know. Gallade drops to the Moonblast. I get Trick Room up. It's Torkoal, so now it's going to underspeed Reuniclus, so they kind of got me with that, but... Well, the other tricky thing is... It nerfs Water Pledge, so I might not do enough damage to Annihilate here, but I don't really have another idea, so let's just attack. Getting damage on Torkoal is good, of course, to weaken the Eruption. Getting damage on Annihilate is not so good when I don't KO it, because it can do that back. Hopefully I'll get another attack off here, at least one. Weather Ball into Reuniclus KOs. I don't think the crit mattered. We KO Torkoal back and just have to beat Annihilate from here, but I think it's gonna beat Excalibur. Still 2 turns of Trick Room. Excalibur is... I don't know if Excalibur is going to be faster or not. I don't personally run speed EVs on Annihilate generally, but I don't know what other people are doing. We'll just click Glaive Rush and hope it works out. And it just might, because they went for Drain Punch and that didn't KO. Okay, wait. Excalibur's faster. So Protect, Trick Room ends, Glaive Rush. Win the game. I could also Ice Shard, but it's resisted. I don't know that it'll KO. And I think I just win with Glaive Rush. Unless it's somehow a speed tie. Nope, there it is. And like I said, despite what I said about 3 games with each team, I'm just going to play with this one until I lose, and then we'll try the other 2 for 3 games each. I think the other 2 teams will not be as successful as this one has been, but we'll see. Okay, Clefable, Volcarona, Archaludon, Kingambit, Gastrodon, and Rillaboom. How do I beat Archaludon? I guess that's one of the things that I need Hitmonchan for. Primarina can help into it as well. And Reuniclus if I land a Focus Blast. I think I do bring Reuniclus to this. This team's going to be tough to deal with, though. I think I'm just going to go straight for Dusclops Reuniclus, and I'll bring Primarina and Hitmonchan in the back. And I'll hope that I have enough for whatever they happen to bring, because their team is full of threats. But they're, I guess, taking some time to figure out the best way to attack here. And that's okay. We'll get going in just a moment. Here it is. Kingambit and Clefable. Yeah, that's going to be hard to deal with right off the bat. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to Will-O-Wisp. So I'm worried about Kingambit knocking Dusclops out if I go for the Trick Room with Dusclops, but I also don't want to waste my Terra on Dusclops when Reuniclus might kind of need it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to Will-O-Wisp Kingambit. They can redirect that if they want, and I'm going to Terra Fighting Trick Room. That'll make Reuniclus harder for Kingambit to KO. Of course, they could just set up Swords Dance with Clefable covering, and yeah, there's not a whole lot I can do about that here. Especially since I can't safely Focus Blast Kingambit, because it won't do very much to Clefable. Oh, I can click Haze. I have Haze. Okay, let's click Haze. At least as long as Dusclops is here, I can do that. And I'll Psychic Clefable, because I think they're going to use Follow Me. I do kind of hate these positions where which attack is best for me to click depends on whether they redirect or not. But that Psychic did a lot of damage. And Dusclops takes the Kowtow Cleave after the Haze. And I kind of want to switch Dusclops out to Hitmonchan and go for another Psychic into Clefable. That preserves Dusclops for later in the game if that's useful for some reason. And I have a lot of pressure into this Kingambit once Clefable goes down, which is now. Kowtow Cleave doesn't do too much to Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan is probably faster than Kingambit, but I do have Mach Punch. But I think I could just close combat, actually. And I'll Psychic Gastrodon. Maybe they protect and yawn or something. I don't know what the Gastrodon is going to do. They do protect. So doubling, I did consider doubling into Gastrodon, and that might have been the better play, although I don't think I would have gotten a KO anyway. Hitmonchan's getting pretty low, so I will go for Mach Punch into Kingambit here. And Psychic Gastrodon again. I'm a little worried about letting Kingambit set up, but of course if it sets up, then it doesn't get immediate damage. They show the Terra flying, so the Mach Punch not doing a whole lot. And they double into Reuniclus, which does a bit more than half. That's not what I like to see here. But I'll Mach Punch Gastrodon. If it KOs, then Reuniclus will only take one hit from Kingambit, and I can go for Trick Room again, but it might be better to just Psychic, I think. Take the damage, keep the pressure up. Reuniclus will take this Kowtow Cleave. It actually looks like it will take another one after that. Although we'll see their last... never mind, we gave them a Defiant boost. Okay. And we'll see their last Pokemon here. It's our Chaladon. Hopefully Hitmonchan lands this close combat. And I'll go for the Psychic into Kingambit again. But if I can just one-shot the Archaladon, then probably I can beat Kingambit in the endgame. But I'm not sure how this is going to go. Hitmonchan drops the Sucker Punch. Okay. And Reuniclus to Flash Cannon. If Reuniclus had gotten the Psychic off there, that should have KO'd Kingambit. Yeah, okay. I think this one might be doomed. It's at least not Power Herb Archaladon, so Primarina might be able to make some plays. The Archaladon was faster... Well, it was faster than Reuniclus. That doesn't tell me much. Huh. Let's try to finish off Kingambit and burn Archaladon, if only for the chip. As we see the Snarl come out there. Dusclops drops the Kowtow Cleave, but Primarina Yeah, we'll still pick up the KO into King Gambit, and now it's a 1-on-1. Your Chaladon cannot spam Electro Shot. We know that much. There's no rain and there's no Power Herb, but Primarina might need a crit at just the right time to break through here. I don't know. Yeah, that Flash Cannon does too much and also gets the drop. Still might be possible with a timely crit, but it has to be right now and it has to do more than I expect it would. But yeah, I think our wrong move. I think our Chaladon is just going to knock Primarina out here. So we'll stop at 5 games with this team. 4-1 though, not bad on like mid-Reg H ladder with this draft team. And we'll look at the other 2 teams that I have now, because I did want to use every Pokemon on the roster. So this team is built around a tech that I never ended up actually trying in the season. It's one of the 2 things that I alluded to when I said that I had some techs in mind for the Magby pickup that I wasn't going to say before using them. This is Mach Punch Magby into Weakness Policy Baxcalibur. The Baxcalibur also has the Dragon Dance to boost its speed and get its attack a little bit higher. And Terra Steel improves its defensive matchups while still activating the Weakness Policy on a Mach Punch. It's pretty gimmicky and it's very sort of Sword and Shield-esque in that these Weakness Policy strats were common in that generation for good reason and are not common in this one also for good reason. But it's definitely something that I had in the back of my head that might be fun to try at some point in the draft league. So we'll try it now. Weakness Policy, or Mach Punch Magby, Weakness Policy Baxcalibur. Then we have Incineroar supporting them again. We have Primarina doing its thing. I went with the Throat Spray set this time. Snover will, of course, boost Baxcalibur's defense, making it a little bit harder to take down as long as it remains an Ice type. Plus, Snover can click Blizzard and Ice Shard like it did in that one PDL set where I brought it in Week 8. And Sarina, finally, is here to mainly protect Baxcalibur from priority. So, that's the second team. I think I really will limit this one to 3 games, and same for the third team, but we'll see. Maybe I change my mind before this is over. Right off the bat, we get some Politoed Rain with our Chaladon. So this time it is a Rain boosted our Chaladon. They also have a Sableye, which is, as I think I've demonstrated with my Mono Ghost team, pretty tough to deal with in closed team sheet because there are a lot of different things it could do. The one good thing is that it can't burn our Chaladon because of it can't burn Baxcalibur because of Thermal Exchange. Same goes for Talonflame if that has Will-O-Wisp. So I think I'm just going to go right for my setup, game 1. Why not? That was the premise of this team. And I'll bring Primarina. No, you know what? Honestly, Ice-type attacks aren't that bad into this. Let's bring Snover. I can also change the weather with that, and I'll bring Sarina. We'll see what that gets us. It is relying pretty heavily on Baxcalibur to win the game, but that kind of is the idea here. I think I'll Terra Steel immediately to cover for a Dragon-type attack, or a Flash Cannon. And I will just Weakness Policy, Mach Punch into Glaive Rush into our Chaladon and hope for the best. Let's see. This is what the team was built for. Let's hope it's not a complete disaster right away. They get Reflect up. Glaive Rush does not do enough. But the Terra Steel saves Baxcalibur this turn. And I will Protect. I don't even have to. I can follow me and click Glaive Rush again. Right? The other cool thing about Magby, of course, is it gets the move that makes this evolved form viable in the first place. Also, Baxcalibur is probably just faster than our Chaladon. Unless Sableye goes for Thunder Wave or Quash, which it certainly can. But the switch out to Rillaboom, I don't think that's going to take the Glaive Rush. Maybe with Reflect it will, but it is +2. Just barely. I don't have Ice Shard on this Baxcalibur, unfortunately. So I'll go for Icicle Crash to try to pick up Rillaboom and just play it safe by clicking Follow Me again. I don't think Baxcalibur, or why do I keep mixing the dragons up? I don't think our Chaladon can safely switch in on this either. But we're about to find out. Of course, I could miss. The Sableye has Shadow Sneak, but it actually gets burned by Magby. And this is, I think, Focus Sash Magby, not Eviolite. Yeah, that didn't even do too much. And it certainly won't now, thanks to the Flame Body burn. There's the Annihilate. The Annihilate is obviously a problem. I'm familiar with Sableye screens next to Annihilate. I'm an enjoyer of that myself, and yeah, I know it can be hard to deal with. That said, I kind of just want to rip a Helping Hand boosted Glaive Rush into Annihilate right now and see what it does. Should do a lot of damage. Let's see. Rain Dance. Annihilate just gets KO'd. Nice. And they forfeit. Perfect. So Baxcalibur and Magby putting in work just like I hoped. And they'll have a couple more opportunities before I go to the last team. If the ladder's not dead. Taking a bit of time to find an opponent here. Maybe I should have brought Weakness Policy Baxcalibur with Magby to a PDL set. It looked pretty strong in that game. Felt a little gimmicky in my head, though. I don't know. Okay, we got Mouse Ape. That's a little hard to deal with, but I do have Follow Me on Magby. Let's just lead these two again. Why not? We do have to be alert to the Dragonite, of course. But with that in mind, I kind of like Snover again, and Incineroar to help deal with the Goldengo. And yeah, depending on what we see here, it is Mousehold and Annihilate, so I think I want to just, instead of going for the... I think instead of going for the Mach Punch setup this time, I want to Follow Me and just Glaive Rush Mousehold right off the bat. It's not ideal if I lose Magby before I get to click Mach Punch, but this feels safer, if only marginally so. Protect Mousehold, so that's not great. Annihilate just goes right for bulk up. Oh man. That's going to be hard to deal with regardless then. But I'll try again to get rid of the mice here. Girafarig, oh no! And of course they know to go for Population Bomb now into Magby. I could get a Flame Body burn. No Flame Body burn in 5 hits, that feels unlucky. I'm not sure it is, I think Flame Body might only be 10%. But it feels unlucky. And I feel like the only way I win this now is if Snover bails me out. So we'll try. I'm just gonna go right for... I'll try to Glaive Rush Annihilate here. It might get redirected into Mousehold, but hey, gotta make plays. And in the spirit of making plays, here comes the Terra Ice Blizzard from Snover. There's the side beat up, finally. They can probably just knock out one of my Pokemon if they want. They choose Baxcalibur. I already felt like the only way I could possibly win this was with Snover luck. I think I needed to get a freeze there, though. Now I'll boost their Annihilate with Incineroar's Intimidate. Of course, I can't fake Annihilate out because it's a Ghost type. What I can do is... I don't even have Flare Blitz. What I can do is fake out Mousehold and hope that I freeze their Pokemon this time. They probably will prioritize Incineroar. They do, yeah. Freeze? Okay, so we're just going to lose to this one. I'm not going to get another Blizzard off, but I'll try. Snover actually not taking too much from that Population Bomb in the snow with the Eviolite, although there was that one crit there, but I think Annihilate is going to be what gets the KO here. And it does, so hey, maybe this one's a different game if I click the Mach Punch turn 1 like I did the first time. Who's to say? One more game with this team and then we'll move on. As we get... what on earth is this? Kind of the PDL Season 6 greatest hits, if we're being honest, with the Whimsicott Typhlosion duo, the Malamar, like the Marvelous Bridge Malamars, and the Ursaluna that helped to knock me out in quarterfinals. But how do I play into this? I kind of want to just go for the Baxcalibur setup again. The only thing I'm afraid of is the Typhlosion. But I guess I can just switch Incineroar into that if I really feel like I have to. So let's do Excalibur, Magby, Incineroar. And probably Primarina last. The Gastrodon could be an issue for it. But I think that's the best all-around option. Okay, it's Gothitelle and Malamar, so no Typhlosion in the lead. That's good. However, they can fake my Pokemon out here, and I don't have Protect on Magby. I do have Terra Ghost on Magby, so I think I'll go for that here, and I'll hope that they let me get a Glaive Rush into Malamar, though I don't think it's especially likely, but we'll certainly try. Or Steel. So I'll get the Glaive Rush, but I don't know how much it's going to do. Still a lot, but I lose Excalibur turn 1. Okay, well, here's the thing. I'll go Incineroar here. It does boost Malamar. If it's not max speed Malamar, then Magby will be faster. So I'm going to go Knock Off into Gothitelle and Overheat into Malamar and hope for the best. Protect, okay. Magby survives, of course. And I'm just going to make the same play again. I don't really see anything else I can do here. Magby is faster than Malamar and gets the KO with the Overheat. Drops the Psyshock, but that's okay. We get rid of Gothitelle too. Magby, I think it's fair to say, put in some work before going down. And now we have Incineroar and Primarina against whatever two they have in the back. Gastrodon, Pokemon I least wanted to see, and Typhlosion. That's a real mixed bag. Well, I'll go for Knock Off into Typhlosion. And hate to say it, but I think I'll go for Moonblast into Typhlosion because, you know, that does some damage. I bet the knockoff KOs. Okay. How do I deal with Gastrodon? Well, it's a one-on-one with Incineroar, so I probably just lose, but I'll just knock off and see what happens. Getting rid of the Citrus Berry is nice, but of course I don't have my Terra available, and Incineroar takes too much from that Earth Power. We'll lose here. That still wouldn't have gone with a crit, because a crit is no longer double power, so we were losing that one. But we gave it a good go for sure, and the Magby put in work. I'm very happy about that. And the final team for this video... Psychic Terrain Girafarig with Expanding Force Reuniclus. Really forced manual Psy Spam, and this is the mode that I had in mind when I said that I thought about taking Girafarig to the quarterfinals, though I didn't end up doing it. The one thing that sets it apart from Dusclops as a Trick Room setter on this team is the ability to set the Psychic Terrain for Reuniclus, and we're going Terra Psychic Reuniclus to double down on the Psychic type damage, which, judging by how Reuniclus played on that first team, feels like it might be a pretty strong choice. I also have the Magby again, this time with Acid Spray, to open up holes for the special attackers, not just Reuniclus, but also Primarina back on the Mystic Water set, but this time with the Grass Terra. So possible very strong combos there. Then I didn't really mean to click on Bastrodon there, but that's fine. Bastrodon is here with an Iron Defense Body Press set. Also hoping to take advantage of the Trick Room to set up. I probably always have to Terastallize Bastrodon if I bring it, but Water being a very generally strong defensive type, hopefully that'll pay off. And then Assault Excalibur is just here to give this team another threat, and one on the physical side, in case the special attacking modes get shut down. Yeah, Iron Defense Body Press Bastrodon. I tried the first week that I played with this team, and it didn't work out, but it's back here. But the real sort of basic premise of this team is the Girafarig Reuniclus stuff. Unfortunately, Girafarig does not get Armor Tail, so Inner Focus is still a very good ability. It can't be flinched with a Fake Out still, but it is not going to stop the Whimsicott from using moves like Fake Tears and Encore if it wants to. That said... well, I don't know how I beat this Typhlosion. I guess with Excalibur, probably. So I might have to lead Excalibur this one. I'll just do that with Primarina. It's not really the premise of this team, but hey, it is the two Pokemon that I identified as the strongest on this team when I took over. And we'll see them leads side by side there. And I'll bring the manual size spam in the back, why not? We see Typhlosion and Whimsicott. This is Terra Water Baxcalibur, so I can probably get both of my Pokemon through an Eruption just fine here. And unfortunately I don't have the Icicle Spear on this one. That actually would be nice into Whimsicott, but I feel okay to Icicle Crash Whimsicott and click Hyper Voice with Primarina. Terra Fire, Typhlosion, but they go Tailwind instead of Sunny Day. That still does a lot of damage to Primarina with the crit, but they give me a Thermal Exchange boost on Baxcalibur, and they don't do too much after the Water Terra. We knock out both of their Pokemon here. They do still have Tailwind up for whatever their last two Pokemon are, Annihilate and Ursaluna. Should I Icicle Crash again, or is it safer to Ice Shard Ursaluna? That's Assault Vest Baxcalibur. Let's just Icicle Crash. And I'll click Hyper Voice. I don't think... yeah, okay, they don't knock out both of my Pokemon with that Hyper Voice. They do get Primarina, but knock Baxcalibur even after the Annihilate damage. Baxcalibur KO's back. I can get Girafarig in here. Because what I'm going to do is, of course I don't have Protect on Baxcalibur because it's an Assault Vest set, so I'll just Ice Shard the Annihilate, and I'll go for Trick Room with Girafarig, and then Baxcalibur probably goes down here, but I get Reuniclus in and I can click Expanding Force. Or they forfeit, that works too. Get another one. So didn't get to show the manual size spam mode in that game, but it was what was coming for that Annihilate. Here we have a pretty standard looking Mousehold Rain kind of team. So let's see. Still not loving the Bastardon into this, am I? Actually, with the Terra Water, it's not that bad if I can deal with Archaludon somehow. Pretty big if, though. But actually, I don't know how I beat Archaludon with this team. Maybe I do need the Bastardon. Alright, let's do Bastardon, Magby. I can follow me Iron Defense and hope to win the game with Bastardon. Actually, I think I need more of an immediate threat into Archaludon. But what does that look like? Reuniclus? I need a Girafarig, Reuniclus, Bastardon. That's not Bastardon. Girafarig, Reuniclus, Bastardon, and... do I still bring Magby? No, I think I probably bring Primarina. Can threaten a lot of special damage, especially in the rain. They are able to side beat up their own Archaludon here if they want. And I actually think that's what I hope they're going for, because I think I'm just going to click Trick Room and Focus Blast into Archaludon right away and hope for the best. Actually, there's not much reason for them to beat up when they see this lead for me. And see, they can taunt Girafarig there. I also missed the Focus Blast. Can't get Trick Room up. So that's a pretty bad start. I don't want to switch out to Primarina, but I don't feel very good about that. Let's try this again. They're just going to Population Bomb Reuniclus. There's not much I can do about that. I guess I could have switched Bastardon in, but I don't know. And this lead's versatility is a real problem here, because if I knew what these Pokemon were going to do, then I think I could handle them better, but that's just not how these Pokemon work. I will go Bastardon here, and I'll try to get an Iron Defense. Do I have to Terra Water? I think I can take an Electro Shot later if I need to. And I don't want to... the problem is that it takes away Bastardon's Population Bomb resistance. That's the issue there. But I was worried about, again, about the side attack, Population Bomb or what have you, into Body Press. But maybe I've used my Terra a little too quickly there. But let's just hope for the best. Let's just Hyper Voice and try to Body Press Archaludon here. They'll actually switch out to Pelipper. They can Electroshot a target of their choice. It's Bastardon, which, as I suspected, does take it, although not very well, to be honest. And we don't get the KO into our Chaladon here. They can knock out whichever of my Pokemon they want, but I feel like I have to attack with both, or else I'll just get overwhelmed here. I mean, I think I will anyway, but I think the only chance I have is to double attack. They don't actually get a KO, and I get 2. So that specific turn turned out okay, but I think I just lose to Mousehold now. Bastardon is at +2 defense, but is very low, and it turned off its resistances. Let's try, though. Let's not say we didn't try. Look at that little mouse there go. Oh, they missed Population Bomb. That's some good luck for me. We knock out Mousehold. Bastardon takes a nap, but there might be a chance. Single target Hyper Voice and Heavy Slam into Amoonguss. Primarina self-hurts and confusion. That's not a good time for that. Primarina takes a nap, but the Amoonguss not attacking so far. There's a chance it's not able to. It probably can't very well, at least. We'll just go for Hyper Voice and Heavy Slam again. That Population Bomb dodge is incredibly lucky. They didn't even get a single hit, but I mean, that's Pokemon. We take those when they happen. And that Pollen Puff does so little to Bastardon. It's not resisted, of course, but Bastardon is just such a naturally bulky Pokemon. And since I knew I was running Iron Defense, I invested a lot of special bulk into it. They do take away my defense boost there, but the Amoonguss isn't hitting me with physical attacks, so I don't need the defenses, and Heavy Slam doesn't care either. The Clear Smog can actually do better damage into Primarina if they want, but they're letting Primarina get at least one more chance to attack. Citrus Berry Amoonguss, not really what I wanted to see, but look at that. That's still not going to knock out Bastardon after the Leftovers recovery. We'll just Hyper Voice and Heavy Slam again. Primarina snaps out of confusion. Bastardon takes another Pollen Puff, and Bastardon gets the KO. Not necessarily accomplishing a lot with its setup in the way that I wanted it to, but just so incredibly bulky, and after the Terra Water not having quite as many exploitable weaknesses, it was able to just sit on the field through so many turns. And again, I was extremely lucky with the Population Bomb miss, but that happens in this game. Bastardon able to wear the Amoonguss down in the end game. And I believe there's just one more game to get before we close the book on this Alaskan Absols season. Probably the only one I'll ever coach, because I'll probably go back to my own team identity whenever the next season is. It's been fun, though, to take over someone else's draft. I enjoy drafting myself, too, but having pieces given to me and having to make them work, I find to be a really fun challenge. And there aren't as many opportunities to do something like that in the same kind of way. So I'm not saying, oh, I'm glad that Shadow left the league or anything. It would have been very cool if he'd finished the season out too, but it was nice to have the opportunity to do this. See how far I could go with someone else's draft. I had a lot of fun. Anyway, what do I do into this Charizard team? Ugh. Probably lose, but we'll see. Well, I'll try one more time to get my manual size spam. That's what I'll do first. And I actually think I'm going to lead Girafarig Magby. I'm going to commit to the manual size spam. With Magby, I can click Follow Me, and then I can get the Trick Room up more safely, and then hopefully get the Psychic Terrain and Expanding Force after Magby goes down. And I'll bring back Excalibur for some amount of offensive threat outside of Reuniclus. They lead Mousehold stuff immediately. Not really what I wanted to see, but I can redirect the beat up if they go for that. So we'll just click Follow Me. And Trick Room. And they might well KO Magby. Go for the Terra Fire on Annihilate. That is gonna... Oh, okay, it's Population Bomb. They will KO Magby. That means I get Reuniclus in on the first turn of Trick Room. I also get the Flame Body Burn. Annihilate bulks up. It is no longer weak to Psychic, so that's a bit of a concern, but... Oh, the other issue is, of course, that Reuniclus is slower than Girafarig. So Reuniclus will move this turn before the Psychic Terrain goes up, but there wasn't much I could do about that. I'm just going to click Psychic Terrain and protect Reuniclus, I think, because I'm a little worried about a Rage Fist. And then actually, if Girafarig survives the turn, if it does, then I can click Expanding Force with both Pokemon next turn. That ought to start getting some KOs. They might... Well, I don't know if they see what's coming, but it's possible that they do. They're taking some time with this turn. There's the Psychic Terrain. They Drain Punch Girafarig. Population Bomb. It is burned. 2 hits. Only 2 hits. Oof. I've had some good luck with opposing Mousehold in this session. But yeah, we'll Expanding Force, and we'll Terra Psychic Expanding Force, and we'll expect to see 2 KOs. And the manual Size Spam mode finally gets going. Another thing that's very strong when it's set up, and makes it look like maybe I should have actually tried it in the PDL, but felt gimmicky in my head. Hindsight's 2020. I never actually took Girafarig to a PDL set. I'm going to be honest, I didn't believe in that Pokemon, especially after seeing its performance in the early weeks before I was playing. But it's put in some work here, as the Reuniclus knocks out Mousehold and almost Annihilate, and Girafarig finishes Annihilate off. Look at that, Girafarig with the KO. And whatever they have in the back, I mean, Torkoal can underspeed my Pokemon, and Gholdengo can probably take at least one of these Expanding Forces. But if it's Whimsicott and Charizard... Okay, it is Torkoal. And Charizard. But I'm just going to send it. I mean, getting damage onto these Pokemon as quickly as I can is good. Let's see if it works. If Torkoal clicks Eruption, maybe it knocks out both of my guys. I don't know. I think Reuniclus is probably bulky enough that it takes an Eruption. And certainly Charizard will go last this turn, but we'll see. I think there's a good chance I get some damage off here into at least Torkoal. As Reuniclus actually is the slowest Pokemon, it's not Min-Speed Torkoal. Charizard just drops to the Expanding Force, and Girafarig will finish off the Torkoal. Reuniclus and Girafarig executing the manual Size Spam mode perfectly in this game, and splitting the KOs between them. And just as I said that I didn't believe in Girafarig during the season, maybe I should have. Look at the work that it put in this game. Just goes to show that you can't count any Pokemon out when it's been drafted, right? It's been drafted for a reason, and that's something important to keep in mind if you are, as I am, trying to make somebody else's draft work, or as I was, because it is over now. This was the last game of the video. Very exciting note to end on. Very happy with it. Very happy with the season overall. Like I said, it is unfortunate that anyone had to withdraw from the league, but I did have a great time stepping in mid-season and coaching the Alaskan Absols, and now it is time to close that book once and for all. We'll watch the PDL final. We'll see how this exciting season ends. It's been an incredible season through and through, and I'm going to be looking forward to the next one for sure, when probably I go back to drafting my own team and playing with it right from the start.